Welcome to the 5th anniversary of the Centennial Investment newsletter and video. It certainly doesn't seem like it was 5 years ago since we started on this odyssey, but I guess it must be after I just looked in the mirror this morning. So it's been an incredible journey so far. The way that Centennial Investments has matured as a property investment vehicle through knowledge gain, experience and a few minor mistakes makes us an excellent bet, I believe, to be an even better success moving forward. Now, as you know, I decided to make this CITV bi-monthly until we can warrant monthly episodes again, which will be based on our involvement in additional projects. So this month's episode is going to concentrate solely on the Delray Beach Project, naturally, and I intend to take you through the process and show you what has happened so far and introduce you to the team that we have assembled and explain what will happen over the next couple of months. Now, this is just a word for the folks invested in the Delray Beach Project who have been sent even more documents to sign via DocuSign. Now, we are continually upgrading our documentation, especially since we moved from a joint venture agreement to a limited liability partnership. Each amendment requires everyone to sign off on. Still, I can almost assure you that this will be the last round of documents that need signing, so I apologise for the inconvenience. Still, it's for everybody's benefit that we get the documentation just right. Anyway, let's start with the Delray Beach Project. Now, if you didn't need reminding, we bought just over 1/3 of an acre of land back in March of this year in primo downtown Delray Beach, and we will be building 3 urban luxury townhomes on it. The journey begins by deciding what type of dwellings we will be putting on the land and what they should look like, and just as importantly, who will build it. So the very first part of this process is to visit as many finished and unfinished properties that are sitting on a similar size piece of land to the one we have in Delray Beach, and get to know a slew of builders at the same time, one of which may be chosen to build out our project. The Centennial project management team, which is made up of myself, Matthew, Danielle and Gina, will then settle on an architect, and in this case it's Shane Ames of Ames International Architecture, to take on our vision and create an outline known as a red line drawing. And this tells us what we can fit on the land that matches our vision and expectation, and also compares it with a dose of reality. We then move on to a set of initial floor plans, which the Centennial team will examine, tweak and send back to the architect to see if our new ideas can be incorporated.
Who's going to start? I found a 2-foot square paver that you can drive on.
Yeah, well, it's a 3'6".
Well, what is that? On yours it is 3 feet.
3'6", yeah. Because you wouldn't wind it all the way up. Yesterday, we went over the plans that everybody's seen in the last segment, and so can you just tell us where we are in the process of the plans, where we are with the plans, drawing them, and how near are they to complete?
We're currently going through the fine-tuning and tweaking. We laid out the air conditioning preliminaries, all the lighting preliminaries, and running them by all the mechanical engineers and interior design. We're working on putting all the civil engineering together and getting all the renderings put together for our 3D presentation to the city, and that should be happening within the next week.
Really, as quick as that?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And so, and Curtis, as I've already seen him, as you're going to see in another segment on our video, he's overlaying some of his designs, well, not designs, but his tweaks on your designs.
Right.
So basically, it's going to be Curtis's alterations are going to be incorporated in your designs that are going to the city for review.
We're getting daily emails coming in of the material samples and all of the specific items that we're putting into the building, and we're tweaking everything accordingly.
And what other engineering plans and drawings do we need to submit to the city at the moment that we haven't got?
We are now ready also to send it to the structural engineer. We'll probably do that prematurely, so we can get a good start on things. Once the city approves it, then we'll be ready much quicker to submit for the final permit set.
Right, you're going to need landscaping in that as well, right?
Yeah, landscaping comes in right now. We're working on that right now.
Okay, and you're in touch
yes.
with because Julie recommended
correct
for that. Okay, so if you were to make a guesstimate, how far away do you think we are from breaking ground? If you were a guessing man using all.
If I were guessing, I would probably say in late December, with the permitting from the city, how that works.
Okay, so I mean, a December start, which would be really good. And then after the construction starts, what role do you play in the project after that? Do you visit site? Do you make sure that everything is being carried out as per your?
Yeah, we're the quarterback of the whole team, getting all of the information, all the materials, and making sure they're put in correctly. And then we go out to the job site and do periodic inspections during construction throughout the entire process.
Okay, that's fantastic. Look, I thank you very much for your time. Really, I know as you can see we're all a bit hot and sweaty here. It's a bit humid out there, and we've but we've got this down. And thank you very much.
Very good.
Curtis, would you like to tell everybody who is looking in right this moment exactly what your participation in this deal is?
Okay, well, I am the ultimate person to make things work, both visually and functionally. And we've been doing this, I've been doing it for over 50 years, and multifamily, single family, commercial, so a broad experience with this field. But because I'm also not only involved in the design aspect of it, but I'm also one of the many designers, but I stay on the job site. I go to the construction sites and I know the construction aspect of it, so I know what needs to go where and how to fix things and implement them, make sure the proportions are appropriate, the lighting's appropriate, the surfaces are functional as well as aesthetically pleasing, and also create the space plans where everybody enjoys being in the space.
Because I saw yesterday that you were taking Shane Ames, and I know you've been doing this for a few weeks now, that you took Shane Ames' architectural plans and like sort of re-edited them basically, because you were taking a little bit of form over function, taking a little bit of license to make the whole
Right.
job look pleasing.
And,
And that's
Shane and I have worked many, many years. In fact, I met him, I guess, in probably 1981.
right.
And so we've been working together for a long time, and it's been very productive.
And you choose all the, you choose all the architectural elements, but also some of the other stuff, some of the hardware that's going to go
The
into.
finished surfaces, the infrastructure, the visual infrastructure, which would be the hardware, the lighting, not just placing the lighting, but actually doing the lighting and lamping specifications so that the color rendition is appropriate, that the color temperatures are uniform, and we're not all over the place, as so often this happens now with the new LED technology. People don't know what they're doing, and you'll go into a room and you've got blue lights, yellow lights, white lights and stuff like that. So we ensure that that doesn't happen.
So on a timeline, I mean, we're coming up to hopefully the finishing of these building plans right now. How long do you think before we can now get it to the MEPs? And I'll explain what the MEPs are later on to you guys. How long do you think it'll be?
Actually, I think we're ready. It depends upon Shane, but we've got the plans where they should be.
Yeah, because when I spoke to Shane, he was telling us that he thinks that we're 5 months, 6 months away from breaking ground. So
That sounds logical.
yeah, so that's like at the end of the year. So I'm really hopeful and that's going to happen, because that puts us back on schedule. So anyway,
And the project is in a location too where things are happening. It's a hot location.
so you're going to see Curtis along the timeline of this project. We're going to be interviewing him regularly as we update the project as it goes along. So anyway, thank you very much. So today I headed down to Delray Country Club to meet Julie Cogan, who is doing a project down there. And I expected this just to be just a normal run-of-the-mill interview. I was going to ask her about the project and if she could possibly run an A to Z of the project from beginning to the end. And what ended up happening was a 10-minute complete uninterrupted dialogue of how you build a project from beginning to end. I said to her after the interview had finished, you know, you've spoken for 10 minutes straight without break. She goes, you know, it's easy when you do something that you love. And it got me to thinking, what a fantastic team I've got around me. So here is the interview with Julie. Now, if you don't want to listen to 10 minutes of how our house is built from A to Z, what I suggest that you do is to skip to the next segment. But I must tell you, this is really interesting. Well, it was for me anyway, and I hope it will be for you. Okay, here we are with Julie Cogan of Cogan Construction on her latest development down here in Delray Beach. Julie has been appointed to do the construction or become our general contractor at the Delray Beach Project. So thank you very much for taking that on. Hopefully it'll be a lot better than or a lot easier I should say, than the Hampton, which Julie also did the GCing and building of, and that turned out to be an amazing success. So we hope to follow that with the Delray Beach Project. So Julie, thank you for turning up.
Thank you for coming here today.
Good. So what I'd like to ask you, can you tell the investors back home, what is the procedure that, you know, if you can take it from A to Z, from now we've got this land and it's barren and it's sitting there, and we've hopefully got the weed whackers going in today to calm down the weeds and the rocks and everything. Just to tell everybody what the procedure is, all the way to the end.
Okay, well, right now we are in the design phase with Shane Ames, and you brought on Curtis House. So they are making the fine tunes to the different rooms. And after we have the finalized floor plans, they went to the structural engineer. The structural engineer is the company that creates all of the foundation footing placements, how the steel will be erected, and this is basically the skeleton of the home. After the structural engineer completes their plans, they then go to the mechanical engineer. And the mechanical engineer is in charge of how the air conditioning systems will work throughout the 3 different townhomes. While we are doing the mechanical engineering, we also start the engineering for the drainage and grading. So you can see there's a lot of engineering involved. Another pre-permitting exercise we are going through is the selection of the windows and doors. In South Florida, you need to submit the permit with the product approvals for the hurricane ratings for all windows, doors, balcony railings, garage door, basically anything that could fly away. So we are right now selecting which window and door will go with the construction of the project, and we will obtain the engineering from the window manufacturer. And then at that time we are ready to go in for permit. And the permit process takes about basically 3 months. And during that time, we will continue working on the branding, and Tony's team will work on the marketing. And during the 3-month period, we get all of our estimates ready from electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and we put together our subcontractor team. We have a few pre-construction meetings with the entire team to make sure everyone is on the same page. And at that time, when the permit is issued, the first thing we do is prepare the building pad. And in South Florida, we test the soil, and they make a recommendation of how dense we have to compact the dirt after the demolition of the existing structure to prepare for the new townhouses. So the building pad takes about a week, and then we are ready for the shell contractor to come out. The first thing they do is install the form boards, and that's basically the outline of the foundation, and then we need to get surveys done and an inspection. So it looks like we're going really fast and then we slow down. So after the form board inspection passes, we come back and we start the underground for the plumbing and the electrical. And then those are inspected. And then after that, we start building the layers of the foundation, which include the rebar, the wire mesh, and the vapor barrier. We also have to pre-treat for termites in South Florida, and all of that happens in about 10 days. We have an inspection, and then they will pour the foundation. After the foundation is poured, we have to strip the forms and do another survey to prove that our foundation did not overhang the property lines. Once that's approved, the concrete block crew comes out and the building goes up pretty quickly. About 4 weeks, we'll be at the point that the roof will be started, and we start with measuring for windows at that point. And at that point, the shell contractor is done with their scope of work, and then I basically take over the entire project to the end. During the shell construction, I'm involved, but they have their own on-site supervision, and we check in on them, but it's basically a one-stop shop with the shell contracting. So once they are complete, we have to do a process called dry in the roof. And that simply means that we're going to put the felt paper on and tar the seams. And at that point, we're ready to start all the interior work, which first starts with the framing crew. So we have our interior designer there that day, and we make sure that the framing on the paper looks good in person on the site. And the framing for each unit will take about 7 to 10 days. And when that's complete, we bring in the trades, which is electrical, mechanical, and plumbing. They each come in on their own, basically because the AC ducts have to be in before the plumber runs his copper, and the copper has to be in before the electrician runs their lines. And that all takes about 6 weeks, and then we are ready for all of the rough inspections for electrical, mechanical, plumbing. When they pass, then we do our insulation inspection. When that passes, then we do a framing inspection. So as you can see, Tony, we have a lot of inspections.
Yes.
So once we pass all of those inspections, we move on to drywall hanging. And that takes at least 3 weeks to hang the drywall and start taping it and finishing it. And that takes another 3 weeks. So the whole drywall process is between 4 and 6 weeks. And at that point, we are ready for the painter to prime all the walls, and we start the flooring. So before the flooring starts, all the selections have to be made and ready to go, and we usually order flooring 6 weeks before we need it. After the flooring is installed, we are ready for our interior doors, baseboards, door casing, plus the cabinetry is installed in the closet interiors. After that is complete, we have to do field measurement for the countertops because they're all custom made. And there's usually a 2-week period of time between the cabinets being installed and the countertops getting available. And during those 2 weeks, we finish our flooring, the shower tile, and the painter will start to prime and paint the interior doors, the trim, and do a coat of paint. So then the countertops come out, and they take a few days to get installed, and as soon as they are done, we are ready for the trim of the plumbing and the electrical and the AC vents. So we bring everybody back out, and it usually takes about 2 weeks after the countertops are fully installed to trim out. And at that point, we are ready to get a CO.
Okay. So thank you, that's very detailed, and I'm sure that everyone's going to really appreciate that, because
That's
that's
what
everything.
20 years of doing it shows, detail.
When I was speaking to Shane the other day, because I'm interested in when we're going to break ground, and he said that with the plans as they are and at the level and the stage we are at the moment, that we should be able to break ground around about the end of the year. Do you concur with that?
Yes, I hope to, by November, to break ground.
Okay, and to encapsulate everything you said, that after we've broken ground to the minute that we've got them up and ready to sell, well, hopefully we're going to pre-sell them before they actually get erected, but to finished product from the minute we break ground to then is, you would imagine, guessing?
12 months.
12 months, okay. So as you say, it's a long haul. Hopefully we're going to be able to pre-sell them before they actually get erected, as I said. And it's going to be an interesting project, and along this timeline you're going to see Julie. She's going to be popping up from time to time and explaining some of the process that you're going to see on site, and I hope you find this a really interesting journey. So thank you very much for explaining it to everybody.
Thank you for having me as your general contractor.
And we'll be seeing each other soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right, thank you.